nice to see you again, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Noreen Burke and I am the owner of Call Clutter Fairy Home Organizing, and this is my YouTube channel, The Crafty Organizer. Today I wanted to talk to you about how I approach space planning when I'm working in a new area. Now, I love making changes in my own home. I love making changes in other people's homes, but oftentimes when you're looking at the space, you measure pieces of furniture and you try and visualize what it will look like, but we don't always have the energy or the strength to move things multiple times. And I know a lot of you are limited on what your mobility is, so I wanted to show you a shortcut that I do so that I only have to move things once and I know it all fits. Before we get into that though, I wanted to thank you so much. You guys, I just hit 40,000 of you watching my channel as subscribers. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. So I don't want to get too mushy, but I really do appreciate it. So let's get into today's video. All right, super sorry for the horrible audio. I desperately tried to find a screen recording software that could capture this for you, but apparently I'm super lame and I could not figure it out. So, I wanted to show you how I often do my planning when I'm looking at a space. So the first thing I do is I measure the room, and then I go into Excel of all places, and I will go in and I'll adjust the columns. Now, if you're not familiar with Excel, none of this is going to make sense, but I'll adjust the columns and I'll adjust the rows so that they are all teeny tiny squares. And for me, my unit of measurement is every single one of these teeny tiny squares is 1 inch. And the reason I do that is so that I can come over and start measuring out the pieces of furniture that I want to lay. And I will draw a box that is the exact width and length of that piece of furniture. Now, I do this as I'm going to show you. I do this as a text box. And the reason I do it as a text box is I can draw it to the width and length, and I just count the squares. But when I let go, I can then name it new piece of furniture. And now I have this new box that I can move wherever I want onto the diagram. So what this does is this helps me. So right now it's full size. It helps me when I minimize it down. You're going to get to start seeing what I've done here. So all of those teeny tiny boxes are now too small to see, but this big giant square that you see here is the area that I am working with. In this case, it's my garage. I'm adjusting it once again. This little gray area here is an overhead storage that I need to work within. So, for example, if I take my desk and I try and move it over here, what it's telling me is I can put it there, but I need to be aware that it's tall, so I probably shouldn't. So, for example, if I want to put my desk, and I'm just going to get silly, if I want to put my desk here, and I want my big chair here, and I want to put my table here, what that tells me already is that's the most space I have. So if I wanted to try and put my file cabinet, next to my desk, I now don't have room. So by measuring out my pieces of furniture first and making a mock-up of my space, I can really play with these pieces of furniture. Like this is my table, so I can switch it around and see, okay, if I have my desk there, would it make more sense to have the table in the middle here? And then could I put my chair next to it? Nope, that won't fit. But the other thing this does, and this is just unique with Excel and by doing the cells this way, I can click on a cell and I can drag it across, and at the top it tells me the count, and I doubt that you could see it, but right here it says 29. So that tells me if I put my desk here and I put the table here, I would have 29 inches between my desk and the table. 36 inches is usually the best distance between pieces of furniture so that you have a safe walkway. And for those of you in wheelchairs, you know 36 inches is essential so that you can get by safely. So by coming up with a template like this in Excel, you can really play with your layout. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and close what I had and reopen because I had already saved everything. So here's my perfect layout. And this was with a lot of playing. So this is going to be my chair, my table. These are my bookcases, and it tells me I'm going to have dead space here, which was perfectly fine. I have another 3 bookcases. I'm going to have a bookcase that goes diagonally, and because I know it's short, this overhang won't bother it. And my desk and my file cabinet are going to stay in the same place. I can also double check by dragging down and selecting all of these open spaces, and it tells me I have 38 inches right there. When I go between my desk and the table, I have 39 inches. And when I check between my bookcase and the table, oops, let me go that. Oops, stop it. When I go between my book and my bookcase and my table, I have 30 inches. So this is going to be my narrowest area, but it's typically where I just sit to record for you guys. So this is one of the ways that I plan out spaces ahead of time before I do any heavy lifting. You can get graph paper and go ahead and mark out the exact same way that I'm doing on Excel. Then you can copy the dimensions of your furniture, still using the square system, and then just manually place those on a sheet of paper. I like using Excel just so that it's a little bit faster for me. I'm pretty quick at the program. It also prohibits me from losing the little pieces of furniture, which I actually do when I've tried to do it in a graph format. But another option, IKEA has a planning tool free on their website. So you can set up the dimensions of a room. You can even place where the doors and windows are. Now, the furniture obviously is usually something that they already carry in the store. It's to see how their pieces will look. But I have been able to use similar sized pieces to get an idea. And the greatest thing about the IKEA tool, which again is free and I'm not sponsored, you can switch the orientation and do an actual view of the room with the lighting and everything, which is kind of cool. So here's a link to the IKEA website where you can play with the space planning. It does have a little bit of a learning curve to it, but I did find it pretty easy. The most frustrating thing for me is when I was trying to find an item, you had to actually search it, and a lot of times if you don't know the name of their item and the sizing of it, then it was a little bit more difficult. But it is a lot of fun to play with and to get to see what it would actually look like as a virtual room. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'd love to know if you use something similar to this to plan out your rooms, or sometimes if you're like me where you just start dragging things around and playing with it. I usually spend a couple of days thinking about a layout first and really deciding how I want a room to look, but if I'm ever a little bit unsure, this Excel hack is always my go-to to make sure everything will fit in its place and I don't have to keep dragging furniture pieces all over. Something I'm hoping to do with my channel in the very near future as I grow subscribers is become full-time organizing just for you guys. So I know that YouTube is offering a couple of different memberships and things like that. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet, but I am looking for more of you that I can help to organize. So if you're in the Southern California area and you'd be interested in having me come out and give you a hand, please contact me at callclutterfairy@gmail.com. We could talk about some of the projects you have, and if you are a subscriber, you just might be lucky enough to have me show up at your door and do my magic. That's all I have for today, you guys. Thank you so much.